Welcome back to Nightmare Creatures. We're in a town that I believe is pronounced Marylebone. The loading screen fucked it all up, called it Saint Marylebone. They added the saint though, because it is named after a church called Saint Mary, which is beside a stream, and another word for stream is born. So Marylebone roughly means Saint Mary by the stream. Got a horrifying shop just ahead, and a new combo. Excellent new combo that is fairly difficult to actually perform. But the rewards of performing it are great. Try to show it off on this unwilling participant. He's not going to make it easy. But there it was. The bloody ballerina is that spin into the sky, which no actual human would be able to do. But it looks impressive, and it is very effective. Now we've fully looted the Jennifer is a mindless beast inn, we can move on to traditional faceless men. Forget if I've showed it off before, but spinning attacks will chop them up now with our most recent upgrade. This is where the game is at its strongest, when we can leave the majority of enemies very easily disassembled. Get to use the best mechanic in the game as often as possible. Now, I pointed out in the snow level that it looked much better on the N64 than on the PlayStation. This specific hallway is the opposite. On the N64, they have to have a uniform light level. They can't have different light levels for different areas. And this whole area is lit up like the sun, and the texture is really, really bad. It looks almost exactly like the Maze 3D screensaver from Windows 98. What we're seeing here with the different light levels looks much, much better. That was a combo we learned a level or two ago, but we didn't see it yet. It's called the Wuthering Slice. It's basically our normal spinning attack, except that it slices up everything, regardless of upgrade. Of course, because we're indoors, there's gotta be collapses. And ambushes. We've almost fought our way out. Almost. But as we return to the streets, I'd like to talk about the namesake for the Brotherhood of Hecate, and why it's such a poor choice for them. So they're named after the Greek goddess Okati. It's the goddess of witchcraft, necromancy, and general magic shit. She often appears holding a key or two torches, and typically is seen as three-formed, which means she literally has three bodies that stand back to back to back in sort of a triangle configuration. That's the slightest bit similar to the Peeps monster having three heads, but that's so vague that I'm willing to write it off as a coincidence. So there's no real ties between Hecate and the Brotherhood, or Aleister Crowley, or anything set up in the game, really. Seems like she was just chosen because of the witchcraft angle. And even that is strange, because we are often told that the Brotherhood started as a socio-political group that just wanted to use science to better mankind. And then they just kind of fell into magic. So it's weirdly prophetic for them. Here's where I learned that Dockers can take more than one bullet. I got plenty of bullets lying around. Anyway, some believe that the name Hecate ties into the Greek word for willing, or one who exerts her will. That would tie in nicely with Thelema, Aleister Crowley's religion, which literally means will. But that's a heavily debated issue. The actual etymology of the name is completely unknown. And that would be a pretty deep dive for the developers. And Thelema itself was actually founded in Egypt, and makes frequent references to the Egyptian gods. So any of them would have been a better choice, I think. And in fact, Aleister Crowley had his own Egyptian pantheon OC called Aiwass. This creature appeared to him and dictated the Book of the Law to him, which became the Bible of Thelema. So yeah, to me, Okati is not a great choice. But it is funny that her Roman equivalent is Trivia. And I really wish they had named it the Brotherhood of Trivia. I'd be fully behind that. It's clearly, I love the hell out of some trivia. At this point I'm trying to show off something very specific about the Bloody Ballerina move we've learned. Did manage to show it off there. And that Docker, he needs to pay because he needlessly destroyed that buggy that was inexplicably full of dynamite. That could have been very useful to us. But without that, we're just gonna have to keep hacking people up with a sword. Which, I'm not disparaging in any way. It certainly has its charms. And I haven't pointed it out before, but every time we kill an enemy, rats come in behind us and devour the corpse. There's the rats now. And you can always hear their little sound effect every time we depart from a recently killed foe. They do not eat severed limbs, though. So the more we chop enemies up, the more stuff gets left behind as we explore the level. Just pools of blood and bits of gore. Absolutely everywhere. Here's a confusing little spot. Doesn't make any sense. I don't know why they would erect this arch right in the corner of the street. And I specifically pulled this Docker away to this area. Firstly because I don't want to interrupt that area just yet. And also because I wanted to show this off. The hit detection in this game is so good that you can really rely on it to cut an enemy into the shape of the attack that cuts it. And unfortunately, with the Bloody Ballerina, that leaves them in such a weird shape that we can't really hit each other. In practice, that ended up happening with every single Docker that I used that move on. And we just would not be able to hit each other for a while. It was weird. And look at that, they finally paid off the gargoyle jump scare from the first level in the game. Gargoyles have already been spoiled for us, so it was completely meaningless. And at this point in the game, gargoyles are about our most dangerous adversary. They're still small and quick enough that they're pretty difficult to hit, and they're not yet susceptible to easy dismemberment. So it's quite a challenge to pin them down, take them out. Unless we start dipping into our vast stockade of weapons. Which I really need to remember to do more often. Feet of Fury remains our most reliable combo, even though we've got all sorts of other fun and interesting ones. Even with the buzzsaw going. Had a hard time with that guy. Got my revenge though, and it earned us access to my favorite part of the entire game. The commercial district of London. Already robbed Braveheart. Let's break into Lord Fairway. You can barely make out on the sign. Apparently they sell guns and saws there. Which gives me an idea to use another saw blade. It's real short work of that guy. And gets us over to Blackbird, which sells nothing. Shame. But we're not done yet. Jennifer as a Mindless Beast has another storefront. We can't really even tell what's inside. It's actually much more clear on the N64 that it's some kind of garment. But my favorite store is the Werewolf Tavern. Apparently it's the home of the Flaming Moes. I just love that sign. It's a very poorly drawn werewolf. And a terrible teal and red color scheme. We're not quite done yet. There's another Braveheart over here, which has nothing inside. But one of the stores did have a heart inside. Right now that's, I think, Nadia's most plentiful health restoring resource, which is not a good sign. Once we're out of health orbs, we will be dying a whole lot more. Oh, I took out that guy's everything. Almost felt kind of bad for him. And over here, we got the entire Brotherhood turned into faceless men, who I always try to call nameless men. Which I think is a better name, for me personally, because they have faces. But since they are members of a secret society, which they've been banished from, it would be more accurate to say that they do not have names, as they've lost everyone in their lives at this point. But whatever, nitpicking at this point. Past them is a gate, and up past this gate is nothing. Until we go over to the N64 version, where there is a weapon upgrade. These weapon upgrades happen to both be on even number levels, which is inconvenient, but watch my inventory as I pick this up. It incremented by 5, and that was across every item that Ignatius is carrying, and that happens every time he picks up an upgrade on the N64 version. Does not happen on the PlayStation version, which is why Nadia is so far behind on items. And why Ignatius is so far ahead. But anyway. Inside here is a boss fight of 3 giant gargoyles. And it's quite difficult. They'll just storm you, and their attacks can hit you from such a ridiculous distance. There's not much you can do about it. You almost want to die here, and then set up a chop-up combo during the invincibility frames after you resurrect. I keep failing to do this. But I did enough damage along the way that I've killed 2 of the 3. Must have been a really impressive stand on top of that fountain before we interrupted it. Made it come to life. And even the very last one managed to kill me. You might have actually heard that they had the boss music here, unlike in the giant spider fight, which only had the boss music on the N64 version. But anyway, that completes the level.
The cab driver knows nothing. The ignorant deserve death.
Crowley's claimed another innocent victim, but this is one he should have made sure to finish off. This guy's still got enough life in him to deliver to us the most important clue we've found so far.
Ha 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 ha!